MCS Software Group.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Greetings and salutations. It's Larsen Live. It is August 10th. Just a mere 3 weeks or so to go until I have to go back to work, which is a shame, but what can we do? We opened up with The Who's new song, Bosoo Huh Mongol. It's about the same shit that it always is about, but hey, if you got a good gimmick, you flaunt it. Even though their lyrical themes are pretty typical, shall we say, their music is diverse and interesting, combining classical music with Mongolian folk music and heavy metal. I cannot recommend this band enough. They're good. Okay, we have some people saying hello. A Mr. Freemark, whatever the hell you pronounce that. Fletch Kyleman, Narahari Kamath. Hello, everybody. Why the retractions? I don't know. Anyway, let's just get right to the news today because it's a doozy. Oi, mate, you got a license for your sectarian violence? Yes, you need a license for your sectarian violence because the UK is erupting in sectarian violence. Narahari Kamath says The Who is awesome. Yes, they are. So, what happened in the UK? Well, a quote-unquote Welsh migrant who was actually Rwandan, he stabbed and murdered 3 little girls coming out of a dance class, a Taylor Swift-themed dance class, if I'm not mistaken, and the people are a trifle upset about it. Now, is it right to, lump all migrants in with the brush of this murder? No, but, I don't blame people for being a bit upset. And people are marching. People are rioting. There is violence afoot. Riots and counter riots of, North FC fans and Muslim migrants fighting it out in the streets. People are a bit mad at the cops for what they perceive as softballing migrant violence. And if that wasn't wacky enough, things are getting a bit crazier because the new PM of Great Britain, Keir Starmer, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm going to assume it's Keir. He says there is no absolute right to freedom of speech. More specifically, his biographer Tom Baldwin says there's a sort of silly argument sometimes about free speech, and Elon Musk is sort of trying to pretend freedom of speech is some absolute right. It has never been an absolute right. I don't agree, sir. I feel that free speech should be an absolute right with one exception: speech that is explicitly threatening harm upon other people or groups should be banned. If that wasn't enough, there's also some issue because a bunch of American trolls, from 4chan and such, have been bombarding police.co.uk with fake tips and general nonsense. And all American IPs have been banned from accessing Scotland Yard's website. If that wasn't enough, not only are people being arrested for rioting, they're also being arrested for watching the riot. Let's check out some comments before I get to that. Fran LPK says, hey. Narahari Kamath says, by the way, Starmer is weak and Britain is likely to go into a tailspin. Yes, we've all seen the meme of the guy slowly cradling his head in his hands in front of the billboard that says Britain's future. I can't quite judge because America's future isn't really much better at this rate. We'll get to that in a little while. But yes, there has been a staggering amount of unity from, the pale-faced blockheads. Basically, the Prots and the Catholics in Northern Ireland have actually come together to kick out the migrants. Kick out the wogs, I would say, if I were politically incorrect. I shouldn't say that. That's very mean of me. But yes, Prots and Catholics have come together demanding something to be done about migrant violence. I must say, I wasn't expecting that. But hey, speaking of The Who and Mongolia, Genghis Khan would have told you better than anyone else the fastest way to unite enemies is to give them a common enemy to fight. But yes, one of the reasons that Mr. Starmer, Prime Minister Starmer, was mad at Elon Musk was that Elon Musk was a bit upset about the fact that a man was arrested for watching the riots in Belfast. A Belfast resident, a Cameron Armstrong, was charged with rioting despite his lawyers saying he had only been watching. Judge Rafferty says he doesn't have to throw a brick or a petrol bomb to be involved in disorder if he is present at the disorder. Anybody involving themselves in this type of behavior, this type of disorder, as an observer or an active participant can be expected to, save for the most exceptional circumstances, be remanded into custody, and he has been remanded into custody, this defendant. So says the Telegraph. So just to clarify, you can get arrested for just being in the area of a riot. Geez, first you arrest a man for having a toy sword, and then this. What the deuce is going on with the UK? I don't know. So yeah, Elon Musk said observing protests is apparently illegal, and Prime Minister Starmer was very upset about this. So yes, apparently you do need a license for your sectarian violence, or even to observe the sectarian violence. Penelope K says, a new Holy Crusade in the UK. Well, I certainly hope so. Well, I mean, what I really hope is that, there wouldn't be violence and, I'm not anti-immigrant just in general. Like, I have nothing against people who, come to a country and, pay taxes and contribute to society regardless of their race. Like, but this shitbag who murdered those 3 girls, he was not one of these people. And yes, there are many NGOs and government organizations who are just like, yeah, let's just bring in, the dregs of humanity, and the stock line will magically go up. I mean, it's like they'll say, oh, well, who's going to pay your pension if you don't have the immigrants? Yeah, most of these people don't work, actually. It's the same in my country too, the USA. Like, they always talk about, no one's going to pick those strawberries. Well, it's funny because like 98% of the illegal immigrants in New York now literally are not working and have not even looked for work. So I don't know who's going to be paying the pensions. Maybe no one's going to be paying the pensions. Maybe pensions should be for citizens only. But yeah, I don't know what the hell's gone up the UK's ass in recent years. Just need licenses for everything. Let's see if I can find some new news about the riots going on. I mean, I'm still pretty stunned that, like, the Protestants and the Catholics could come together against Muslims, basically. Okay, let's see. Police are being bombarded with bricks and objects. They're hiding behind their riot shields. Let's see. Okay, in Middlesbrough, there are Muslim patrol groups who are going around with, sticks and things, beating up white people. I'm pretty sure the same is being done to, the Browns by, the North FC fans. Yeah, it's not great. My wife has a good friend in the UK, and she's a bit upset at this. I don't blame her for doing so. It's not good. Yes. People are upset at Prime Minister Starmer, calling him two-tier Kier, because he says if you provoke violent disorder on the streets or online, you will face the full force of the law. But curiously, this seems to be only towards, the North FC fans. I refer to them as North FC fans because I'm not particularly fans of these people, nor am I fans of the Sharia law brigade. Why can't we all just get along? I don't know. Okay, not a lot of commenting going on. This is a great start. Where are my regulars? I mean, some of them are here, some of them are not. Dare I say, this swift action is just good old narco-tyranny. Also, CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, died. My friendly nemesis. I don't have much to say about that, but I'm not going to wish ill on somebody for dying, even though she did fuck me over pretty bad. Anyway, not to be outdone by our Anglo cousins, there were some protests in Iowa that happened not too long ago. There were farm protests. So what happened here? Basically, a bunch of farmers were protesting, similar to what was going on in the Netherlands and Canada, protesting by driving their trucks around, the tractors, and demanding some kind of water, I don't know, some kind of like water drainage or something would go to their farms. People were mad about that. See if I can find what's going on here. Maybe this is a nothing burger. Yes, I guess it was something, a bit of a nothing burger. There's certainly much to be protesting in America, but it's always over some stupid shit. And with the Kamala Waltz ticket for the Democrats, I'm sure there's going to be more protests about stupid, non existent crap to be going on. I mean, migrants and brappies commit, let's be honest, more violence in America than they do in Europe. I mean, Europe's starting to get a taste of what we live with in America. Why do we not protest in America? I don't know. I always like to say there was a time when there were massive protests for labor rights and things like that in this country. I don't know when America developed this endless appetite to just eat shit and love the taste of it, but I really wish we'd stop doing that. Hey, friend LPK says he's eating lunch, can't comment. Or as the movie Idiocracy would put it, fuck you, I'm eating, brought to you by Carl's Jr. Narahari Kamath says it's a conspiracy to create chaos. Yeah, probably. It's a narco-tyranny, as Sam Francis would put it. Narco-tyranny is not good. As usual, I wake up to my nice little domestic bliss. I made some kick-ass, egg in the hole, egg in the basket, one-eyed pirate or whatever the hell you call it, for breakfast, and it was very good. And then I turn on the news and everything's going to shit. Oh, sorry, my microphone was tipping over for a second. Let's see what else we got going on here. Oh, speaking of violence, sectarian violence in America. Gary Tan, an Asian person from San Francisco, posted a Twitter thread. Oakland, California had 30 brutal attacks and robberies at the Westlake Christian Terrace Senior Living Center in a week. 80-year-old Asian grandmas are being beaten and robbed every few hours. And yet, the mayor of Oakland still does not investigate this as a hate crime. The Oakland mayor is Chinese, a Sheng Tao. He says Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao is a disgrace. The DA, Pamela Price, is a disgrace. Protect Asian American elders now. Yes, Asian American elders should be protected, but of course, we took a good long look at who is committing the attacks on the Asian elders, and wouldn't you know it, the attackers are higher up on the progressive stack than Asian people. I mean, Asians are just one step above the evil white man on the, progressive goody-goody scale. Apparently, there was $165 million raised dedicated to stopping Asian hate. None of that money went to actually, protecting elderly people from getting the shit kicked out of them. And that's a problem. Another Twitter user, Kangmin Lee, posted a very pertinent post. The Stop Asian Hate movement died overnight. People started asking, who's attacking the Asians? The answer made them feel bad, so they just kind of swept it under the rug and just ignored it. I mean, everybody knows who's doing it. The, communist Chinese government keeps propagandizing that it's like feral white rednecks doing it, even though it's not. Because, hey, if you can stir up anti American hate, that's good. These are not legally classified as hate crimes. Some reason. Maybe because hate requires thinking and abstract reasoning, and most of these brappies who are attacking Asian grandmas, they're not really thinking all that much. Now, of course, as usual, it all goes back to the dweeb issue. And if a few brappies got fustigated by, Liu Kang clones, I think they would stop. Fortunately, that's not happening, which is why they're picking on the old people. Can't really fight back. Hey. Shinseki Evans says a lot of these Chinese American politicians have ties to the CCP. Yes, they do. Okay. Let's see, they have more loyalty to Marxism than their own race. Yes, which is interesting because the Chinese Communist government is not really like, one world Marxist. I mean, they pay lip service to that crap, but like they're really not. I mean, try getting citizenship in the PRC. Anyway, looking at some back comments, Shinseki Evans says the UK is sentencing native British riders to prison without trial. The migrants not treated this way. Yes, that is a problem. Narahari Kamath says you can't get along if you import people en masse. Also, I think it's the benefits more than anything else. Like back during the the golden age of immigration to America, which is kind of ironic because there's literally more immigration to America now than there was in like the 1890s and 1900s. Like we didn't have like a welfare state and bennies and stuff. Like more than 30% of the Italians, just for one example, they went home because they couldn't get jobs. The ones who stayed contributed to society. Fran LPK says, if you want news about Prague's being full of crap, the former president of my country, a feminist who created the Ministry of Women and Gender, came out as a wife beater and womanizer. Yeah, that tends to happen quite a lot. I did a couple of videos on it. Male feminists and male feminist allies tend to be absolute shitbags. Just really just going hog wild, just beating the crap out of women and stuff. And as you all know, I'm a sexist Neanderthal troglodyte, and I could never hit a woman. I mean, I've discussed this briefly, but the woman I was dating before I met my wife, she wanted me to beat her while we were having sex, and I could not do that, which is why we broke up. Yes, the former president of Argentina went to the ministry, and they told her to just suck it up. Yes, that is a problem. Yeah, I mean, the Asian American politicians can be just as big of shitbags as anybody else. Like the former mayor of San Francisco, or was his senator, Leland Yee, he was literally running guns to the triads, despite being a big anti-gun guy. But yeah, we'll come back to feral bug-eyed derelicts beating people in a second. Yeah, let's briefly go to Africa for a second. American Senator Todd Young said something that was pretty interesting. He said the quiet part out loud. And I quote, by bringing American capital and expertise and standards to Africa, we can keep exploiting, and then he kind of stammers and says, exploring where we can get those minerals. No, sir, I think you were correct. Exploiting was the right word. Yeah, he was the senator from Indiana. Yeah, let's be honest with ourselves. Exploitation is the right word for what you're doing in Africa. Also, I realized why I couldn't find the Iowa farm protest. It was in Idaho. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Yes, massive tractor brigade pulling up to the governor's mansion, and they were looking to him to fight the state's water curtailment laws. Apparently, there's some kind of lithium mine proposed, and they're like, "Look, do you want water for food, or do you want, phone batteries?" I mean, the farms are important. I would say that they are, dare say, a bit more important than the batteries, and that ties into the Africa exploitation thing. Because you got senators openly saying, let's exploit the resources of Africa. Can't say I approve of that. Give me 1 second. I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Okay, lady and gentlemen, I have returned. So, yes, Idaho is protesting the government shutting off water to the farmlands, not Iowa. I apologize. Hey, shouldn't say you haven't flushed the toilet. Yes, you may surprise you, but I have bodily functions just like anyone else. But yeah, it's shit sucks, yo. But yeah, speaking of feral derelicts kicking the shit out of people, let's go to Florida. Remember how a few months ago I talked about that brappy who beat the shit out of his teacher over his Nintendo Switch? Well, breaking news. The Florida student who went viral for beating his teacher into a coma has been sentenced to 5 years in state prison. Brendan Deepa, a 6'6", 270-pound teenager, beat his teacher Joan Nadich for taking his Nintendo Switch. Deepa's mother, adopted mother I should say, is blaming the system for failing him. I have some things to say about that. Mom says he's not a thug who was just out there and didn't have parents who cared. The system failed him. He was placed in public school, and they did not follow his IEP. You should have known better than to use his Nintendo Switch, his trigger, as a motivator. Deepa was sentenced to 5 years in prison, then 15 years on probation. People are upset at this. Oh my god, I can't believe you would send an autistic child to prison. Like, is that crazy or what? Yeah. When you beat the shit out of a woman a third your size, beat her into a coma, and give her permanent brain damage, yes, you should be prosecuted. And yeah, obviously the problem is that, well, frankly, the problem is that this feral mongoloid was in normal school to begin with. Also, the problem is that, like, the security guard slowly ambles over, almost as if the guy's a big coward. And, they didn't follow his IEP. His, the specialized education plan for the brappies. The kid should not have been in public school to begin with. And people are actually defending the shitbag. Like, oh my, you took his Nintendo Switch. It's like, those are his things. You can't take people's things. Yeah, I really love how these, progressive shitlib assholes who are like, hey man, we shouldn't have public property and nobody should have money. But like, when some brappy like has one of their things taken away temporarily, they become like hardcore libertarians about property rights. It's like, oh, how dare you touch people's property? You can't touch people's properties. How about like you can't play video games in class? And like, the teacher took it temporarily so he would do his work. Like, look, I'm a teacher. I've had kids like pull out Nintendo Switches and stuff, and I take it away from them temporarily. I'm pretty lenient. I say you can play after you finish all your work. But apparently that's too much for this sack of shit. So you can't touch people's properties. Like they get fanatical about property rights as long as it's, the feral derelicts of society. Oh, you can't touch, the homeless man's, shopping cart full of tin cans. Those are his things. You can't touch people's things. Oh, but like you should just let people steal from your house and stuff. Yes. I am very much in favor of prison reform. Because let's be honest, a major reason why we have prison is to separate, violent animals from polite society. I would literally have prison only for, violent crimes. Everything else would be, house arrest, fines, public flogging, things of that nature. But yeah, this is absolutely a prison sentence. Or, since this kid's such a big Nintendo fan, let's punish him Nintendo style. Bear in mind that could include things like impalement through the stomach, impalement through the throat, jumping on his head repeatedly until he dies, or, things of that nature. Yeah, I'm for let's punish him Nintendo style. Like I'll run a sword through this fucker's forehead. Okay. Ponythroat says the noble spirit of King Leopold lives on in this man. Ooh boy. Yeah. I mean, I am personally in favor of like paying people a fair wage. Like I don't have it in me to like drive slaves to like make me a little bit more money. Which is probably why I'm not wealthy, but what can I do? Shinsei Game says he's a good boy, he didn't do nothing. Yes, he did do nothing. Pornfoot says if he has an IQ of 50, that means he was like 15 less IQ points in the prison gang he will join. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna do 5 years in prison for beating a woman into a coma, and like, then he'll get out at the age of 22, and he'll probably kick the shit out of some more people. I mean, I guess we can thank Reagan also for not having mental asylums anymore. So yeah, you either put him in an asylum or we punish him Nintendo style, as I said. Oh yes, Nintendo style also literally involves being punched to death. I'm referring to the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, where they attempt to execute Ganondorf and he breaks free and beats the executioner to death. Yeah, impalement is also an option, like I said. You could set him on like a outer space planet and then blow it up, Metroid style. I'm trying to think what else could I do. Run him over with like F-Zero racers. Shove. We could do like Star Fox and shove hand grenades down his throat. Yeah, there's many options you could do here. Narahari Kamath says he will have a budding career of a street thug. Yeah, probably. Ponythroat says it wouldn't have happened if Sega won the console war. Yes, Ponythroat, because as we all know, autistics have no attachment to, Sega franchises. I say dripping with sarcasm. Come on, man. You know that, like, if the kid got into Sonic the Hedgehog, that would have been the only thing that made it worse. Not only would he punched and kicked his teacher, he would have like, spin attacked her. Then he would have done like some jet set radio, like, Healy grinding on her head. And Samba de Amigo or something. He would have like House of the Dead at her or something. Yeah, this is Not good. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I do get violently angry when I see feral brappies just running loose and being given little slaps on the wrist. Yeah, TBD, total brappy death now. All right, let's see what else is going on in this terrible, terrible world we live in. Let's see. Oh, yes, we can go back to the exploitation of Africa and Senator Young. Something went a bit viral on the Twitters. At Feta Cheese, please, says, "Whoa, sick 9-carat lab diamond engagement ring. Did you get that at the fake diamond store for tasteless losers?" This sparked a debate about whether or not lab-grown diamonds are, good or as good as natural diamonds. Nobody could really have an argument about whether lab-grown diamonds are worse, other than just they're noticeably bad. No one really specified how. Personally, I like lab-grown diamonds. I don't really approve of giving the De Beers cartel money so they can force children to work slave labor to mine diamonds. Like, hey man, I can't see children's tears on this diamond. It's not good enough. Me. Yeah, apparently the way they tell the difference is lab-grown diamonds are literally too perfect. That's how they tell the difference. Yeah, screw the diamond industry. Friend LPK says, "Christian, enough said. End the discussion." Robert Diaz says, "If the kid got hooked on Sonic, he would have found the fan fiction." I mean, I would say there's plenty of Nintendo fan fiction, but I'm sure the amount of Sonic fan fiction grossly dwarfs it. Especially the horrifying pornography. Not to say there isn't Nintendo horrifying pornography, which I say angrily as I put my fist through the wall over it, but yeah, Sonic has that trumped. Nara Harikamath says, "Lab-grown diamonds have less impurities. There's also many diamonds, but De Beers has a monopoly." Yes, they do. Seapunk Messiah says, "Oni NG on the podcast, Sleepycast, told a story about how he witnessed a rampaging autistic kid get chucked to a pile of desks." Oh, is that the Irish kid? Yeah, that's I've seen that story. It's a good one. But yes, Brandon Deepa should be punished Nintendo style. Like, drive a sword through his forehead, and we'll be good. By the way, if you haven't read the Zelda Twilight Princess manga, I actually recommend it because the ending is even better than the game. Like, Link is like, "Gandalf, we can break the cycle. We don't have to endlessly reincarnate and fight and die." And then Ganon's like, "Nah, go fuck yourself." And he snaps his own neck just to keep it going, just out of pure spite. And I find that pretty interesting, but I digress. Yeah, a couple Twitter posts went viral-ish this past week, and we'll get to those. Okay. Ponythroat says, "The longest piece of narrative fiction ever written in human history is a Smash Brothers fanfic." I was not aware of that. You've got to, you have to tell me more, sir. Valentinus of the Forest says, "Mankind perfected making diamonds. It is considered inferior to diamonds made in the earth, with all the imperfections. Why?" Well, I think it's like comparing an original painting by a master painter versus an almost perfect replica. I mean, I guess it's purely a perception thing. I mean, I support buying lab-grown diamonds just to give the finger to the cartels. The diamond cartels, of course. Speaking of diamonds, we're going to go to a place where there's a lot of diamonds, actually. Outer space. The astronauts who are supposed to take an 8-day International Space Station trip, they might be stranded until 2025 due to Boeing spaceship issues. I'm sure they're absolutely panicking and losing their damn minds about this. People are saying maybe Elon Musk's SpaceX will come to the rescue. I don't know, but dare I say it, I would be a trifle upset if I were stranded in space for the next year. I don't know how much oxygen they have, nor how much food they have. I say as I look towards my video game box at the copy of Pikmin I have, which is about this exact problem. I'll play that eventually, but I'm playing Dark Souls right now. Narahari Kamas says lab-grown diamonds are better. And the art world is a scam as well. Yes, it is. And Boeing, who would have thunk? Yes, Boeing is undergoing a massive competency crisis. Several whistleblowers for Boeing have died under mysterious circumstances. Yeah, that company's going down the shitter. But anyway, this is really depressing, talking about, space and things. Let's talk about sports. Let's talk about the Olympics. Everybody's favorite steroided up Pee Wee Herman impersonator, Hampton Morris, won the first medal for American weightlifting men since 1984. Now, granted, it was the bronze, but still, pretty good, Hamp. People are referring to him as Hamp the Champ. He is not a champ. He's almost a champ, but not quite. Nonetheless, he is a 120-pound man who can lift almost 300 pounds over his head, and that's pretty damn good. The most I've ever cleaned and jerked is 215 pounds. And I am literally twice the man's size. Also, the ladies managed to win a team gold in weightlifting, which is good, I guess. As if anybody in America cares about Olympic weightlifting. I mean, I do, but nobody else does. Also, the United States women's national team is playing for the gold against Brazil. How will it go? We shall see. Ponythroat says, turns out the longest story written is not a Smash Brothers fanfic. It's a Loud House fanfiction, which is over 16 million words long. That's upsetting. And meanwhile, I'm just upset that Christian Humber Reloaded never finished. That was a Sonic fanfic that went into Crazy Town pretty quick. And no, it's the other Sonic fanfiction written by a guy named Christian that went into Crazy Town. Anyway, moving on from that, let's get to the silly side of things. Let's talk about some science news. Let's talk about... Oh, yes, hello. One second, please. All right, I apologize for the interruption there. Yes, the Loud House is apparently a really something you can write lots of fan fiction about. Anyway, in science news, okay, biologists have apparently translated the dolphin language. Let me see if this is some fake news. And they say it's filled with slur words for humans. This is from, wait a minute. I think this might be a joke, but anyway, the idea of dolphins having like racial slurs for humans is pretty amusing to me. Not gonna lie. You cannot call me a clicker, sir. That is our word. I don't approve. I mean, Ponythroat says the Loud House revamped. Unsurprisingly, it's moronic drivel that goes for quantity versus quality, written by a mentally ill person. I've never seen the Loud House, so I don't know if that ties into like what the show's about. See, is there anything more to discuss? Let's see. Ah, yes, and finally, something else that went viral on the Twitters from Reddit. True off my chest. I think I destroyed our relationship when I tried to compliment my boyfriend. Okay, this lady writes, yesterday night we were drinking and one thing led to another, and I tried to compliment him. I said, you are not somebody who I would hook up with or be a friends with benefit with, but I would marry you. I thought it was fine. He seemed extremely distraught after that. I realized how he took it, and I tried to clarify, but he was still upset. I think I destroyed our relationship, and I am panicking right now. Yes, this Reddit post has become a bit of a thing, debating on whether this was offensive or not. I understand what the woman meant. She meant to say that you were somebody worth settling down with. But ladies, you got to understand that men will take this as I don't find you sexually attractive, but I'll settle for you. Women were perplexed by this. They didn't understand how you could interpret it this way. Ideally, you want to be somebody you would both be sexually attracted to and settle down with. But they just didn't get it. One second, please. Hey, sorry about that. So yes, bit of Twitter silliness, and yeah, that's all I have for my prepared remarks. If you want to say your last pieces now, you can do so. Okay, nobody has anything else really to say. So for Larsen Halleck, this has been Larsen Halleck. All of you have a good day.